happened again. I know. I know. This year, I mean, I failed. If you've come here from having already seen my videos how I failed first year and second year, then you kind of know the drill. But I don't know. It's different this time. It's different this time. It isn't. It's not what it looks like. It feels like at least. Um, and right off the bat, I've learned a lot each time. Each time. And it's annoying because I feel like I learned different things, which suggests that there were different problems for me to take different learnings from each time. But in a nutshell, uni's a lot harder than people make out. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more expensive. I used to talk a lot about how student finance is like phantom debt, and to an extent, it is. The debt is phantom. You never actually have to pay it back. After a while, it's written off. It doesn't affect your credit score, so the debt itself isn't that deep. But the actual cost of living on a day to day, especially right now in this moment in human history, nearly impossible. I felt like I was priced out of uni at almost every gap, but we'll come back to that. And then I guess the final key takeaway is to not get complacent, not get complacent. And the funny thing is, that's the exact same reason why I failed my first year back in 2016, 17. Got complacent, got carried away. Made the same mistake. And yeah, let's delve into that. This year's a bit different because I haven't even got my results back yet, but I already know that I failed simply because I had COVID. Well, hey, I was sick. And even though that's like typically a viable excuse, you'd think like you can't predict getting ill. You should be allowed to retake in that sense. Uh, I was also ill in the summer. Well, this is technically the summer, but for a bit of a timeline, I was going through third year, so I had a video that I was supposed to put up midway through the year. Never ended up putting it up because there was just a lot of work going on. Didn't re-upload anything last year actually because I was focused on work. Um, but then near the end of the year, when I kind of thought I had it all in the bag, I was pretty confident. I was going into the final year, final exams even. This could be an important email. Generally speaking, the year hadn't been that bad. I mean, there was a lot of things to pick up, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to unlearn. Making new friends, getting my money right, sorting this flat out, making that flat tour video. If you haven't already seen it, click up here. Um, but then, yeah, literally a week before, I started feeling bad. I started feeling stressed. I'm like, I can't meet these deadlines. I can't, I'm physically struggling to attend all these lectures. And it's not because I don't want to go or because I'm not organized. Because generally speaking, I'd get up on time. I'd be sitting here, and then I don't know. I'd be watching like a 5 minute YouTube video, and I watched it for 5 minutes. But then 4 hours has gone past. I'm like, what the hell? What's happened here? Am I just blind to time? Am I just perpetually disorganized? I have all these like in the past I've like crashed my car before, failed years, even at work. Most of the time I feel like I'm performing quite well because I forced myself to actually grind it out. I was like hyper focused into it, but generally I just struggled to keep attention. A lot of what do you call it? Like making silly mistakes. I kind of undervalue the stakes. It's like if you crash your car you can't actually die, but in my head it's like I kind of like driving fast, so uh, within the bounds of the law. But I used to do all these things, and suddenly I think I got a counselor, start doing therapy. Again, trying to fix my problems. Uh, and then yeah, one thing led to another. I did an online test, and I'm like, damn, a lot of what I'm thinking right now, and a lot of what I've said, and a lot of the scores I've been getting on these like free online tests, kind of lean quite heavily towards the possibility of me having ADHD. Huh. And then I asked my mates, like, oh, this is funny, right? I did this online test and it said, I've got a strong chance of having ADHD. Ha, that's funny, right? They're like, well, duh. Like, of course you have ADHD. Look at you. You start doing stand-up comedy for some reason. You do all these random things. You never focus on anything. Always late. Always, I'm talking right to you and I'm looking over there at some flowers. Like, you're not even listening to what I'm saying right now. And this literally happened within like a week of my exam starting. And it kind of felt like that was like the beginning of this like metamorphosis phase of like everything kind of not crashing down, but it's like the idea of reality that I thought I had, like this is me, I'm this person, I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start this YouTube channel and do that. I kind of had this like plan of some sort, and it was all based on the premise that I was doable, that I was me, I was who I am. And then in one fell swoop, it's like no, you have ADHD now. And even though technically nothing changed, and I very quickly got over it, because it's like it's not like I have it now. Whenever I get through this 1 year long waiting list, I can get a diagnosis, whether I get it or not. At least then I'll have an understanding of like how to fix some of my deficiencies, but it's not like a new thing. I would have always had it. So nothing's really changed. But I don't know. It just felt like I kind of felt let down. I kind of felt like if I knew this beforehand, and if I do actually go, if I do actually have ADHD, and I've had it this whole time, what the hell? Like, what the hell? I've been struggling this whole time, and I always kind of thought it was my fault, or like, if I just work a bit harder, if I download Notion or Trello, or if I start, when it came to like applying for internships, I was useless. I was useless. I couldn't get it done. Losing track of deadlines, missed focus, whatever it may be. That's kind of why I started internship game. I'm like, cool. If I do this now, I've got to upload every week saying, internship game. I've done this. I've done that. Now I actually have to go and do these things. And even this season, I made the Notion list. Well, you can track, you can go back and check if you want. There's nothing really on there because I got an internship quite early. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have the deadlines here, when it opens, the URL, everything's gonna be there. I'll go through it methodically, and that'll be my way of keeping everything down. Because otherwise, I just won't do it. Uh, but yeah, if I just knew, if I knew, and I had a strategy this whole time, I'd been completely fine. That just really messed with me. Again, a week before my exams. I think it might have been the same week of my exams even. Uh, and yeah, I capitulated. I completely capitulated. Uh, I spoke to my senior tutor about it. I said, look, this I can't really do this right now. My head's not in the right place. Da, 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 da. Unfortunately enough, I was given the chance to retake it in the summer. Then I got COVID. The summer, I genuinely thought. So the plan was that I was going to work for 2 months from basically all of June, all of July. I'd finish end of July and then I'd spend August. I come back here to Bristol, get my work done, smash those exams out, and I start fourth year. But because of this ridiculous ongoing crisis, like I started paying triple bills from like April, May, June, July. So even up until now, I'm still technically living here. Even though the tenancy runs out, well, yeah, very soon. You still have to pay up until the end, right? And then even when you're moving into a new flat for next year, I had to sort it out. I started sorting it out obviously before I did these exams because I wanted to have my place sorted. So I've had to pay like a deposit up front, 1 month's rent up front, all this money that's just leaving my system, that I got to focus on. And yeah, I was like, I can't do it. If I don't work an extra month, like I think I made like £1,700 this month. I get paid today actually. Ah, my phone's recording. So I get paid today. I've been paid about £1,700 from a month of consulting, ESG consulting, some videos on that hopefully coming soon. But yeah, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And even if it was enough, I would have had to have said not just last month because I got the extension before I finished my contract, right? So I would have had to have known mid July that I have the means to find £1,700 and study for my exams, and look after my nan and look after my family, do this and that and do that. Uh, huh? Like it's just ridiculous. Again, I do think I mentioned it earlier. Phantom debt. You don't actually the debt isn't really real, but the actual cost of living, actually having to live and survive, is very very real. It's very very present as well. It's tough because I think my first year I kind of failed again because complacency. I did maths, physics, chemistry, A level. Thought I was clever, came in, didn't pay attention. Let the workload get on top of me. It was got overwhelmed, couldn't handle it, failed. The retake of first year was also quite difficult. I had family issues, a lot of people with health issues. I lost a bunch of friends that year, like actually lost, not just not being friends with. So that was tough. And then did I do that again? Yeah, I did that again. That second time I did first year. Third time I did first year even was fine. I had no real issues. Passed it comfortably. Second year, first term I passed comfortably, and then first term I was in Newport, which was ridiculous. I had another country, basically in Wales. And then when I moved back into the UK, well, Wales is part of the UK. When I moved back into like mainland, it's also mainland UK. When I moved back into England, though, COVID hit, and then yeah, I just butchered me. I capitulated, failed second year, and then this year again, the retake was fine, and then this year, third year for the first time, there were so many challenges that I had to overcome, which I feel like I did. Making new friends was hard. I joined the football team to not just make friends, but make friends on my course. The course football team up the Bems. Uh, the kit, oh, the kit's in the wash, but it's around. There was non-stop financial issues. Living conditions. Like the year was genuinely quite tough. Uh, but I feel like I overcame pretty much all of my issues. I started getting therapy. So, I got close to my siblings, things like that. I got the internship nice and early in the year, so I didn't have to worry about it throughout the course of the year. Everything was looking cool, looking cushy. And then, yeah, out of nowhere, cost of living crisis. Going back home, can't afford anything anymore. ADHD, here you go, deal with this stress, and it's like a year long waiting list. Had to apply for everything quickly, do it, da, 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 da. Cool. That's fun. And then I came back again for an in person exam. So I was like grinding out that month, for most of August, grinding out. Uh, you can ask my colleagues at work. I'd finish work at 5:30, and I just sit at the desk for another like 3.5, 4 hours just studying. They'd be like, "What are you doing here? This graph looks way more complicated than what you're supposed to be doing." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing work stuff now. This is academic." Uh, grinding out for hours. I would get home at like 11. I'd finish work at 5:30, go home at like 11. Having not eaten for a number of hours, sitting on a tube and during a heat wave, just dying in a suit, like, and I really thought I had it. And then over the course of 3 weeks, Nan gets really ill. Again, I got to work even harder to manage this job now. I come up to Bristol for an in-person exam. There's kids coughing around there. There's someone else complaining about getting wrong paper. Blah blah blah. Um, that was peak. If I had the ADHD, if I had the diagnosis and I could have got the relevant support for that, I feel like I would have been in a room where these distractions wouldn't have been a hindrance to me. But unfortunately, they were. Um, and then yeah, I go home. 2 days later, I lose ability to concentrate. I'm sleeping awfully, rolling over, cold sweats. Do a test Monday morning before my next exam. COVID. Great. Yeah, great. I kind of feel like maybe it's my fault. I wear too many Arsenal shirts around. I'm on. This is Arteta form. You bring in all the right players, get rid of all the dead weight, you fix all these problems. Uh, uh, Implement this like philosophy. This is how we're gonna do things. Cool. 9 to 5 during the week. Cool. Fine. And then just suddenly just falters. It just falls apart. You haven't got the right tools for the job. It doesn't work. You get sick. Things happen. And typically, I feel like things happen is a fine excuse. Like I should be fine. But I can't help but feel like having already retaken 3 years. What leverage do I have? And is it even a good idea? Like if I retake, it's not going to fix the financial. Like I'm still in a very sticky financial situation. I mean, at the moment it's a bit worse because I had to pay double rent effectively and then deposits and stuff. Next month will be a bit lighter, but there's still the ongoing crisis. It's still going to be very difficult moving forward, and it's not going to help if I just try and survive on student finance because it's not going to be enough. I've learned that. Uh, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't get results for another 2 weeks now, so I have to figure it out then. Have a bit more of a, some sort of compass, some sort of guidance, some sort of path. Uh, but yeah, in a nutshell, I failed third year, ladies and gentlemen. I got the 3 thumbnails now, keeping it ticking over. Next year we're gonna fail fourth. Damn it. I honestly think, like, just to wrap up as well, because I've kind of gone over everything. I think so. Actually, no. Briefly, so I said I got complacent at the start of the year. Getting complacent wasn't a literal thing. It was more like if I knew earlier in my internship that it was going to be peak, that my nan was going to be ill, that I was going to have to do an extra month, uh, the cost of living crisis would be as bad as it was. If I figured that out, if I was able to anticipate the war in Ukraine a bit earlier, for example, and again, these aren't things that are fair, necessarily, but to an extent, it's something that you could have been aware of, or at least like catered towards. And I've said in the past as well, it's like when things are good, things won't always be good. So use that time while things are good. Earlier in the year, when I had like a bit less responsibilities, there was no war. I had a bit more money in my pocket. I should have used that time not to like save or invest, but to actually study. Actually get this stuff. And to be fair, I was. But I should say earlier in the summer, straight after those exams, I should say, cool. I've already got this momentum. Let me just keep taking over. Let me just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Alongside internship, it'll be fine. Uh, Even if I just did 2 hours a day after work, it would have been okay instead of trying to squeeze it all together near the end. Which isn't strictly true because I didn't literally squeeze it all together near the end, but I don't know, could have been a bit more tactful with it. Is what I'm trying to say. And I think the year was generally quite tough in places. And when things were bad, like when I fell off the electric scooter and hurt my leg and couldn't walk anywhere for a couple of days, like things were actually like I actually couldn't go anywhere for a couple of days. When I'm working, actually I couldn't really do anything. I had to make this money. Um, but there were times when you didn't have to do something that I wish I used better. In hindsight, again, it's not really fair. It's not like I didn't know I was going to fall off the void, the electric scooter. It's not like, oh yeah, this is Monday, so I better put some work in because Tuesday I'm going to be injured. Yeah, you can't really plan for that. But yeah, I guess that's what complacency kind of is in a nutshell, or like getting comfortable. You should never allow. Or I guess in hindsight, I should have thought twice about being as comfortable as I was. I don't know. I don't know. I think the plan is if I'm allowed to retake, I don't actually. I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm going to be a dropout. and hence I've started recording Dropout Diaries episodes, so that may or may not come true, come true soon. But otherwise, um, I think the ideal situation. I've got a list here of like things. A list. It's kind of like just a plan. Uh, yeah, of like redoing third year with teaching, having to drop out, or redoing the year without teaching. And I think looking at the pros and cons, it's definitely worth doing it without teaching. Spending that year working, get my money right, and then I'll just quit in like May. Or I'll quit for Easter actually. Around about Easter time, I just have to quit, and then I'll just work, or enjoy the summer or something, or maybe not even quit, just take a month off or something, whatever it may be. But I need to get things right, and I think the best approach is getting my money right. Uh, so yeah, the Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. Um, but yeah, no, I'm out. I'm out. I think I'm out. I think the undergraduate survival guide is an especially interesting name now because I'm not even someone who survived the undergraduate life. But yeah, hope you took something away from this video. If you want me to be a bit more, because I don't think I've been very positive or negative so far, kind of just saying things. But generally speaking, I feel good. I feel like I had a deliberate approach to this year. Where everything I kind of did, I did for a reason. You know, I joined the football team. I wanted to meet new people, people on my course as well. I joined not anime society. I keep saying that. I joined gaming society. I wanted to like play more video games, play games with more people as well. So this is my flatmate. So I can get better at it, learn more tactics. I started going to lectures. I got a new laptop. I don't know how many times I flex this because I've got a lot of videos not edited yet, and I kind of bring up the same things each time. But anyway, yeah, I got a MacBook to streamline my working process. It's faster than my other laptop. It charges less frequently, so I can bring it to campus without having to bring a wire. I made a lot of good. I've implemented a lot of changes that I thought made a lot of sense, and it was all kind of deliberate. Everything was deliberate. I spent more time with my family. I got the internship. So I feel good in myself, and I kind of like knowing what to do, and that I'm capable of doing what I want to do. I got good feedback at work as well. I've got good feedback doing stand up comedy and stuff. But yeah, it just wasn't enough in the end. In the end, you can give your all to something, uh, and I learned this on sport as well. Like in sport, you can give demand in the match before, be the best guy on the pitch, best guy or gal on the pitch. Give your all. Don't even walk off the pitch. You're just laying there because you've given so much. Left it all in the field, as they say. But your team still lose because it's a team sport. And you're not just relying on everyone else, you're also relying on the other team to like be less good as you guys. But there's a lot of factors, a lot of variance. Yeah, that's the same thing applies to university. A lot of variance. Like I'm gonna have to leave it at this point because otherwise it's gonna be a long video. If you guys want to hear my extended thoughts on this topic and having to retake the year, failure in general, or just like how I'm doing and things like that, let me know down below in the comments below. Drop a like and all these things. If you aren't already familiar with the Undergrad Survival Guide, it's a podcast I started. UGSG, they are tagged everywhere. Maybe I'll get an episode of myself on there. Someone can interview me, ask me all the questions you want. But yeah, otherwise that's it for me. I'm sorry that I couldn't get it all together. It's starting to feel like a meme that I'm just like failing every year on purpose for the views, but maybe I am a little bit. But yeah, my bad. I thought I had it. It turns out I didn't. Uh, but I guess life goes on, man. Life goes on. Either I do third year again, take the bachelor's, do the year with or without teaching. I don't know. If I drop out, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. All I know is that exam wasn't submitted, so it's not like maybe you passed it. I just didn't submit it. Didn't sit it because I was ill. Maybe I'm fine. Maybe I'm not. Either way, that's been it. The next year, I'm confident that I'm gonna get. As I said, I've got a lot of stuff recorded, so it's all coming soon. But yeah, for now, that's been it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed or taken something from it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.